everybody, it's another crazy week. Trans folks are shooting kids. Biden reacts crazy to it. We got the Restrict Act. They're trying to ban TikTok, but really they're banning everything cool and trying to censor the crap out of everybody from now on. And Whoopi Goldberg and even Charlemagne the God are starting to reverse a little bit and saying maybe the woke shit's going too far. And I gotta agree, baby. Stick around. So, before we get into all this, Tina, we got to show this Jane Fonda video where I just want to show you guys the timeline of events here that happened before this massive shooting occurred, everybody.
Little appetizer, right?
Just an appetizer to let you guys know the atmosphere in which this kind of behavior is allowed to exist. So, pull up the beautiful bean footage, Jeff.
Know what that feels like. We know what that's done for our lives. We're not going back. I don't care what the laws are. We're not going back.
I think the women will rise up.
That's the activist.
That's Jane
speaking, and she probably will get a Nobel Prize.
But it's the truth.
Very soon.
It is the truth. We're not going to do it.
Besides marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous. What did you say?
Murder.
She's kidding. Wait a second. She's just kidding.
Don't say that. That's
you don't know. They'll pick up on that and just run with it.
That's the worst.
She's just kidding.
Well, let me talk to you about. Let's move on and talk about Jane's activism.
Look at her old ass.
She was dead serious.
She's dead serious.
She's
just
like,
sitting there like,
why y'all are laughing.
Right, and everybody just keeps laughing like it's okay. Like, haha, yeah, I guess we could murder them.
I mean, what? I don't know. Like, you saw how they came and saved her. Was it Joy? Joy Behar came and saved her?
Oh, she's kidding.
Oh,
you know, they're going to take that and
joking.
run with it, and she just still sits there like, I wasn't kidding.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, Kanye saying Hitler wasn't that bad.
Let's cancel him everywhere.
Cancels him right away.
Well, I mean, look how casual that was. And look how she had no problem, too. She could have saved herself, too, and be like, oh, just joking. She was like, I don't know what you guys are laughing at. I am dead serious right here. Like, she was just like almost irritated that they thought she was joking. She was irritated.
Right.
How dare her sit there and think that it's okay to say that, and that some people, some crazy people aren't going to say, that might be a great idea.
Yeah, no matter what the laws are, we're still going to do what we want to do. Okay, cool. We call those people lawbreakers.
Right. Well, and what laws was she talking about? What laws was she talking about?
No abortion laws or whatever, I reckon.
Right.
But look, so that's part of the atmosphere that this thing happened. But then I want to show you this other thing, okay? Okay. The Trans Day of Vengeance. Pull that picture up from Jack Posobiec or whatever, the thing, or the Trans Day of Vengeance or whatever, right? So show the tweet before this though. The other one, because this is a response from this. Look at this person, Von Wasenberg or whatever the heck. Look at this one first. So Tennessee's legislature gives trans youth 1 year to detransition, saying that they're banning drag performances and all that stuff. And they're basically, and the person on the top says this is genocide, right? That's what they're saying. Right. Okay. And then on the bottom of this, you can't see it unless Jeff zooms in and scrolls down on this picture. This is the response. Nobody is coming to save us. Siblings, pick up your weapons. And then what happens?
Well, I guess we have someone that shot up a Christian school.
Yep. Audrey Hale.
Right.
Audrey Hale went to a Christian school filled with children, walked in, LARPed because she looked like a total loser, like
clearing
corners of like completely helpless children. Anyway, walks in, shoots 3 kids and 2 adults?
I think and 3 adults.
3 adults and 2 or 3 kids, kills everybody or whatever. Then the cops come in and smoke this hoe. But so anyway, here's the other deal. Testosterone increases rage and aggression, and men from birth, we grow up feeling these surges of testosterone and being like, what am I supposed to do about this? And we have to learn how to deal with it. If you're just getting prescribed testosterone, I guarantee you that had a role to play in this person's thing. If she was being prescribed testosterone, which I think,
most likely.
I think she was. I don't know, but here's what I want you guys to see.
So wait, was this a female born female and going to male, I feel I think a lot of people are confused because I'm confused.
I don't even
too.
know. But they were transitioned or whatever. Anyway, whatever they were, they go by Audrey Hale. So if they go by that name, that means they had to. Yes, it was definitely a female transitioning to a boy.
That's
you can tell by
born
bone
as
structure.
Female, right?
Yes, born as a female, transitioning to a boy.
All right.
But I want you guys to see the response though from the trans community. They have like a PR department apparently that exists. We do not claim we don't claim to know the individual. They're basically saying there's two tragedies. One is all the people that person killed, and then the second one says the more complex tragedy is that Aiden or Audrey Hale, who felt he had no other effective way to be seen than to lash out and take the lives of others, and by consequence himself, as if he's the victim or she's the victim. They're like, that's essentially that's the bigger overall crime.
That's what they're saying.
You know what I mean?
How disgusting.
Yeah, unbelievable. But I want you to show the TikTok girl.
I wonder if the parents of the victims of the Nashville shooting today would still have their children if these trans bills in Tennessee were never a thing. I'm not a parent, but if I were, I'd be real mad at the government. I'd be real mad at the government.
So it's the Tennessee government's fault, not the crazy ass movement of sterilizing and castrating children in order for them to believe and to what other mental illness do we take when somebody has a physical ailment or a mental ailment that we literally allow them to chop their arms off and stuff like that? There's none. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're saying we have to wholesale embrace that, and Tennessee's like, no, we're not going to, and then Tennessee's to blame. Like,
Not just
bro,
that,
come on.
You're right. I do. No, she's right. I do blame the government that you didn't nip this in the bud earlier.
Yeah,
So that's where
15
we are
years
now.
ago.
I can't effing believe that she said something like, you know what? The chest tattoo told me everything about that lady. So screw her. Sitting there saying that kind of stuff after people's kids. There's 3 children under the age of 10 that are dead now.
Right.
They're gone. They're not coming back.
And the smirk on her face too. I
Yes.
wonder if the parents in Tennessee are thinking that if their government wouldn't have done this, their kids would still be alive.
Absolutely.
It's like, bro, every person in Tennessee should go out today and buy a handgun and just be trained as shit. The next one of these people that shows up, smoke their ass.
Yeah.
Number 1 second. That's the message to everybody, by the way. There is nobody coming to save you. Everybody should be well trained and regulate themselves to make sure that they don't do anything that's going to, be offensive as far as violence is concerned. But you should be so skilled at defensive violence that nobody should ever have the ability to just get the step on you. You should be self-aware all the time. When I'm with my family, I'm always watching where I'm at. I'm always looking at doors. I sit with my back towards the wall and my face towards the daggum door, because you never know if crazy people are going to show up. And now that they're being essentially,
they're
on
hunting
Twitter,
down people.
Yeah.
They're going to school. See, that's the problem, is that I agree with what you're saying. Oh, be aware, be trained. That's you out with your family and everything like that. But schools, they're like in this bubble, and they think that if they put a sign out that says gun-free zone, that everything should be fine, and that's going to increase safety. I would argue that is decreased safety, because now you're guaranteeing that the law-abiding citizens,
fish in a barrel.
Right, law-abiding citizens are going to respect your sign that says gun-free zone, or you're going to send them to jail. But crazy people will take advantage of it, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. I want you guys to see Biden's response to this. So the news agencies essentially were told, hey, Biden is going to address this shooting at the very front of his briefing he's about to do. So Biden was certainly briefed on this.
Yes.
Right? Because the news agencies cut what they were doing to shoot to this because they knew he was going to have something to say.
And the White House staff had told them said that he's going to address it top of this thing that he's
Segment,
doing.
right.
Yeah, whatever, it was for something. But
So pull up this video real quick, guys. And I just want you to see this crazy situation that we're dealing with in the White House right now.
Hey, Bill, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm told that the president is just approaching the podium now in the East Room of the White House.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. and I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. God. Ben, how are you, pal? One of the best guys in the United States Congress, Ben Cardin. Folks, it's a delight to have you all here. And who are those good-looking kids back there? They're your kids, all four of them? Well, stand up, guys.
John, we'll jump back in here. Considering the moment,
we were told that the
shooting that just happened left 3 children dead, 3 adults dead, shooters dead, and we were told he would be addressing this off the top.
Yeah, it's rather surprising. I thought that a somber President Biden would have come to the podium here and addressed this school shooting. He's yucking it up with the crowd at the East Room. So why don't we dump out of this, and when the president decides that he's going to address this, we'll jump back into it.
I just noticed that he was mentioning his campaign in that. Did you catch that at the end?
I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, he said, as the guy was talking, I just heard in the background, he's talking about his campaign. So isn't that some what?
Dude, if Trump would have done anything even close to this, they would have sprawled him out and butchered him on media from day one. They were already doing
months.
it. Yeah, it would have been months. Like, oh, remember that time he didn't mention this and this the right way? And like, dude, this guy comes out and starts talking about chocolate chip ice cream. Like, what the hell? You know, like, he's obviously senile, man. Like, and everybody knows it. And like, I'm seeing all these other countries make these joke videos of Biden now or whatever, like in the freaking, and then Russia and China are like shaking hands and high-fiving that they're going to be progressing the world together in their own little way against our interests and shit, basically. You know, and I'm just looking at things and I'm like, dude, we got to have somebody back who knows what the hell they're doing, man.
I agree 100%. And I honestly, I remember reading that too, where you're saying that Xi Jinping and Putin were meeting and talking about how they want to uphold their values and not ours, because ours aren't traditional. And I can't say that I disagree with them.
Yeah, I can't say that I disagree that having some form of nationalism is a bad thing. Like, a cultural identity is actually a good thing, man. Like, even Elon Musk went to the World Affair or whatever the hell they call it nowadays or whatever, and he was on big Zoom call with all these world leaders, and he was like, I think we need to warn against complete globalization, because when we have one world government, if we have something like that, and then that government fails, as it has done in history, when Rome was falling, you know, other things were thriving. He was like, but if all of everything is Rome, then if we all fall, it all falls, or whatever. So it was kind of like,
a good point, actually.
Yeah, and it's like, duh, and like, they're trying to get one world government because that's the way they're going to control everything. But I'm just seeing this, man, and it's like, obviously, somebody outside of the country paid for the politicians to essentially destroy the country from within so that America's not a factor in the futuristic mindset of the world.
Yep.
You know, unfortunately, the moral system of the people that are going to take over, which is going to probably be a combination of China and Russia mixed with some other thing, right? Those guys, their moral compass, they're actually toxic masculine people.
Yeah.
You guys have shit on the American version of toxic masculinity, but like, when real toxic masculinity shows up, you will beg for the American version of toxic masculinity to come back.
There is no American version of toxic masculinity. That's what I have to disagree with you on that.
But you know what I'm saying?
They're just using
traditional men doing good shit.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what they're trying to crap on and trying to get rid of. It's not a problem, and that's what Russia and China are valuing and trying to get there. You know, they like that masculinity, but you're right, to a fault, to where it'd be more of a socialistic, communistic type of control over the population with toxic masculinity, beating people up for no reason, slapping them around when during a pullover or breaking your car window, and there's nothing you can do about it. When it comes to their leadership. Here, everybody's, the cop made me roll down the window, and that's against my, like, you can get a cop fired for something crazy like that.
Right.
Over there, that's very different.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. You're going to, like, it doesn't matter. They can treat you like dog shit, and you just have to be like, well, that's the cops out here.
Yep.
Because everything's corrupt now. You're going to beg for a regular ass American cop in 10 years.
I agree with you.
You know, I don't know what Trump's slogan is going to be or whatever. It might be Save America. It might be like, but like whatever
SOS.
it is, it's like, I wonder if it's even going to matter with the ballot harvesting, because the Dems are just spending so much money basically attempting to collect so many ballots that they're going to send out. You know, essentially elections are done. If we don't win this one, I'll be moving to the middle of nowhere, probably going, all right, I don't know what we're going to do.
Good.
Yeah.
Singapore has like a good tax system. A lot of the crypto billionaires, millionaires, whatever you want to call them, go over there. I think there's something with their capital gains tax and things like that. Don't quote me on any of it, or income tax. That's just really, really people friendly, business friendly, whatever you want to say. So there's an option.
You ever had Singapore noodles?
No.
There's another word for it. Pancit noodles is another word they say for it. It's so good. It's got like curry powder.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
like
look,
the noodles.
If you tell me that they got some good noodle dishes there, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
good.
none of this crazy stuff that's happening, and
Yeah.
good noodles. That's all you need.
Boys can be boys, girls can be girls.
I
You
love
can go
it.
have a farm and eat some good Asian dishes. What is it, $1 a month to live there?
It's very, very cheap.
What am I doing here? Why am I paying so much money to live in a country where it's like literally like every time I see like the rainbow flag next to the American flag, I'm like, oh God, we have a giant war cannon. We're just shooting rainbow shit out into these other countries, and they're like, we hate you, and I'm like, I get it. Like I get it.
We hate us too.
We hate us too, man. We're not at the helm. Sorry, we wouldn't be doing this if it was up to us. It's been hijacked by these assholes outside the country, and like everybody knows it.
Why is it? I don't know. As I look at it, how is it that we've let this small portion of our population, because it's not just here, it's in westernized country like the UK and stuff like that. This tiny percentage of people has just changed everything in their favor for preference, not for equal treatment, for preference and special treatment. But it's such a small group of people. How did we let this happen? How did we do this?
That's a great question. I think they knew that we were all lackadaisical and that we were all lazy, and then they just called us racist, so we'd get quiet. You know what I'm saying? And then nobody's aware of any kind of global politics in the United States anymore, like at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people that have PhDs that just have no idea what's going on because they're just trying to make sure they can get out of their college debt. You know, like they paid for their college degree, so they have a bunch of that kind of debt. And all they do is just go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. They're just like, I don't know, I didn't get the vaccine. I'm not that dumb, but I can't pay attention to everything else.
Right. And I don't blame them. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when it's hidden from you. It's news that's hidden, censored, everything.
Right.
How can they keep
And you
up?
kind of have to mingle with a little bit of the tinfoil hat crowd in order to know what's really going on, which means you have to be good at eating the meat and spitting out the bones. And some people think they're above that. So they like won't even go dive on the conspiracy channel at all. Yeah, and it's like, no. Alex Jones was right about like 88% of the shit that he said. You got to go dig there. Even if you think it's weird, you got to, you know, like figure out if he's wrong or not. But you do have to eat the meat and spit out the bones. You can't say you're above it all. No, you're not, because the mainstream media is actually misinforming you. So you don't have a choice. And like a lot of them are like too above that than to even communicate with conspiracy theorists in any kind of a way. But all the conspiracy theorists have been right. So I think that idea is going away some. And if you look at the amount of people that haven't taken, like I did this funny video the other day, and it was like, look, you guys all called us crazy, but like the amount of people that took like the third and fourth jab is like less than 30%.
Is it now?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's less than 30%. So it's like
all that trust, huh?
Yeah, all that trust. It looks like somebody didn't get your boosters, you know, like what happened? You know, like it was all safe and perfect for you, and then like why didn't you guys get number 5?
Yeah, go on.
You know, so anyway, don't quote me on that, but I think that was the number. It was like 35% or less have gotten a third or a fourth one, I think. So either way,
I think they're scared too. I mean, a lot of healthy people dropping.
Facebook put out a thing, or there was something on Facebook. Ashley Everly had put it out. She's a toxicologist. Remember, we had her on the show forever ago.
Yes.
And it was them saying like, "Hey, quick, get your boosters while they last." And the comment section, it's got like 8,000 comments. Was just the most glorious thing you've ever seen on Facebook. They were like, no thanks, no, you know, it's everybody basically was just like, y'all are insane. You know, like, no thanks. I don't want any more strokes. I had 2 strokes after the first time. You know, it's people like that commenting. Now, I'm not saying, YouTube, that was because of the jab, but the commenter sure thought that.
But we don't. We're not saying that.
I'm not.
We're just repeating. We are feeding the information to the people. That's all. We are just mere messengers.
You make up your own minds.
This is all alleged. This is not. This is all our opinion.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So everybody, I want to invite you guys. I am going to be hosting a social media masterclass relatively soon. I don't have a date picked out yet, but it's information that I normally charge $1,000 to $3,000 for of private training to teach people how to get their social media stuff off the ground. So I haven't launched it yet, but I'm going to be launching it soon, and it's going to be a free 2-hour class with Q&As inside of it so that everybody who's serious about wanting to get their social media popping has the ability to do it. So if that's something you're interested in, DM me. Make sure you've got my notifications on Instagram so that way you can find out when I'm going to be doing that. It's going to be in the month of April. So get ready for it. It's going to be awesome. And if you're a person who's been tiptoeing or wanting to dive into social media but doesn't really know where to begin, this is going to be great for you, whether you're an influencer or a business. So get excited about it. I want people to level up with me, and I want to help people kind of get where I've got. So get excited about that. And if you want the uncensored version of this show, you can go to RossDuhBoss.com and you can watch the uncensored version of this show, which goes out usually, I don't know which day they post. I think it's Friday at 8 p.m. I think is when it goes out. But you're going to love it. It's going to be great. And we got more and more private content that's going to be coming out soon. So there you go. But, your earring fell off.
Oh, it's it? Oh, thanks.
It's cool. It's like leaves that go up your ear.
Oh, yeah. It's I think ear crawlers is what they're called. Yeah.
Ear crawlers. Sounds like a bug you wouldn't want to get bit by in Singapore.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, careful. Those are the ear crawlers. Did you fall asleep next to a tree? Oh, they'll get you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to talk about this thing. So TikTok was essentially, they were like talking about how TikTok needs to be banned because it's dangerous.
This is huge.
It's huge. But so I want you guys to see what they're trying to put forward as a means of combating TikTok that has nothing to do with combating just TikTok.
And our laws.
Yeah.
Our law.
This is like the law they're trying to put forward, which is just crazy. So just play this beautiful bean footage.
How we use the internet is about to fundamentally change forever, and it's terrifying. This is Bill S686, also known as the Restrict Bill. You'll probably know it as the TikTok ban bill, but it does so much more than just that. It actually does more than any bill I think we've ever seen. I encourage everyone to read it by going here and clicking the text tab, but here are the main takeaways. Foreign adversaries can change by definition, but a few are already listed. They are the People's Republic of China, including Hong Kong, Special Administration Region, the Republic of Cuba, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and of course, the Russian Federation and Venezuela under the regime of Nicolas Maduro Moros. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but these definitions can change at any time. The bill covers hardware technology like modems, routers, and home cameras, and virtual tech like VPNs, and basically bans them if they are manufactured by or used to contact and deal with foreign adversaries. Speaking of VPNs, using VPNs to bypass banned apps such as TikTok is made a criminal act under this bill, and the penalty, it's a minimum imprisonment of 20 years and a minimum fine of $250,000 or $1 million, depending if you knowingly did so to access banned content. The bill gives the federal government the power to monitor any activity used by these suspected devices, virtual or otherwise. Essentially, they can monitor what you are doing at home 24/7 without even informing you. This includes things such as routers, video games, streaming apps, smart thermostats, Ring cameras, basically anything that uses the internet. Now, the real terrifying part of all of this, as if that all wasn't terrifying enough, is that the bill goes on to state that this will happen by the president appointing a secretary of communication. That secretary then forms a group on their own without any voter input whatsoever. This group can have meetings behind closed doors. They don't have to disclose anything. They can ban and deem anything inappropriate or a risk to security at any moment in time. And if they do, they can go through your instant messages, your emails, text, basically anything that uses the internet, and they can censor it. So in summary, this bill can effectively ban anything the government deems inappropriate extremely quickly without warning. The ramifications of this range from breaking up mass communication methods to even watching the cameras in your home, aka spying on you. It really is that bad, and I am not speaking in hyperbole. Please contact your reps. I have a video on my TikTok band playlist on how to find your representatives and tell them if they vote for this, you will support their opponents in their next primary.
Essentially, it's the Ministry of Truth on steroids, you know, to the point where they're able to say, you got the, because they said they can change the definition of foreign adversaries whenever they want, which means essentially anything that they think is a risk to security, like another country saying, hey, we clearly have evidence that somebody meddled with an election, if that were to hypothetically occur.
A pipeline of something like that.
Right, or maybe,
I don't know.
or maybe we have proof that, you know, certain people blew up the Nord Stream pipeline or something like that. Then us seeing that, if they deemed it as a security threat and we tried to get to it anyway, you'd have to pay $250,000 minimum and spend 20 years in prison. This is crazier than anything I've seen come out. Why would they even... The fact that this is something that comes from politicians means that they thoroughly do not understand that government is a dangerous entity, that like this is such a higher level of control than any government should have on their people. This is nuts.
I think they fully understand it. I think they're very aware of what it is, and they're okay with that. Like, this is, you know what I think it is? It's because while the internet and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook has come with many, many bad things, let's just put it like that, there's a lot of good that came from it. And one of those good things is us kind of collecting our own information, our own independent journalists, being able to look at their content and find out the truth. And I think the government is desperate right now because they do not want us finding out the truth. As you said, they can change the definition of what a terroristic post is, I guess, or whatever. And it could be something like that. It could be saying, hey, you know, at this, the Pentagon are doing this, like one of the many things that they do, the corruption that's in all of our branches. That means that they could just, oh, that's terroristic. We just decided that underneath the new law, and we can change it whenever we want. So let's, you're banned, and about that 20 years.
Yeah, and you know you'd be pulled up into jail the next day too. They wouldn't take their sweet ass time like they do in all these other cases that actually matter. Like,
and they wouldn't give you a bond either.
Yeah, like they haven't done the J6ers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. This is a crazy thing to even suggest. Obviously, it's probably not going to pass anything. If it does, then America is fundamentally different from now on, and you might as well go ahead and move to the mountains and get ready for whatever's going to happen. Because if you're not allowed as a free American to hear what other countries are saying, like right now, if we weren't able to listen to what other countries are saying that they would probably deem as a foreign adversary, we would not have been able to hear everything that's truly happening in Ukraine, where it's like, oh, the Donbass region was shot by Ukraine years ago. You know what I'm saying? They were killing their own people for a while. We never would have been able to find out about that. We never would have found out that the fact that what Putin is saying about the biological laboratories that we said didn't exist until the Russia got close to them. And then they were like, we better get there now and play defense about these labs. We were like, bitch, what labs? Y'all said we didn't have labs.
Exactly.
And they're like, all right, well, there's 14 of them, but like they're not labs. You're like, oh, okay, they just saw the same shit regular labs do. They're like, well, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. So I wouldn't have found this out because you would have labeled it. You know, like some information's off limits. No. Anytime that somebody wants to tell you information is off limits, they are dangerous. Period.
Even crappy information.
Right. It can be shitty information. I have to decipher that.
I think that this whole thing, these things like, you know, we're Christians, we're pretty religious, but even this whole thing with like people reading about Satan and demonic things and wanting to make little groups and stuff like that. We live in America. Go for it.
Yeah,
and
read
I should
as much
be
as you
able
want.
to, right.
And I'll read it too, and I'll tell you why it's stupid.
Exactly.
Our ideas need to be able to have a cage match fight.
Right.
And you should be able to thoroughly examine why you think what you think. I'll think the same thing and let the best idea win.
Right.
And really that's contributed in society to that. If you look at the history of our founding fathers, they were so well spoken. When you look at how old John Locke was, the people that were writing the ideas about how government should be run, they were genius minds that were just like allowed to dive into as much information as they want to figure out what the truth of things are. And they were great debaters. They were great. They could defend their positions of why they thought what they thought. And That is gone today. People don't know why they think what they think. And we're in dangerous territory, especially with the fact that Google is already a very funneled source of information and Wikipedia doesn't help any, where you are completely misinformed if you read almost any source online. So for them to completely cut off what could be true information that isn't filtered by them, because that's essentially what's happening here. They're eliminating competition for what you're allowed to know.
And I love how they're trying to hide it under this guise of like a TikTok type ban, because they know so many
people are
millennials are
right.
anti-TikTok, and that's how they're hiding it. They're hiding it under that. But the thing is that I think it's rich that they sat there and grilled TikTok CEOs, employees, whatever you want to call them. And we're sitting there grilling them about what they're collecting, what they're not doing, and just trying to make it look bad, right? Excuse me, what is Meta doing? What has Meta been doing?
Right.
Facebook, when it was on its own, what did it used to do? Instagram on its own, what did it used to do? You know?
Yeah.
I think that they're sitting here, the pot calling the kettle black type of thing.
Right,
This
so
is
they
the
can
pot-
rile up the base of the United States so they can
Yes.
get their approval. Dude, it's so cliche. They're so dumb the way they do this, but it works.
It's kind of smart. I was about to say it's not dumb. It's kind of smart.
Right. It's like when they
because-
call bills, like, I mean, they were a little bit stupid calling it
Right.
the restrict bill. They should have called it like the TikTok is dangerous for our children bill, which
Right.
is normally what they would have done. Puppies are good. Stop killing them bill. And it has to do with like nobody's ever allowed to have guns in the future.
Right,
You're like,
you're
what
like,
the hell? But yeah, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But like, yeah, I mean, who knows where this whole thing ends up, man? It is such a wild ride watching politics now. For these next 2 years are going to be freaking crazy, man.
I don't know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if I have the energy for it, because it can be so exhausting, like
It
with
is.
that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering, are you thinking that this is going to pass? I should ask you that
No.
first. I don't think so either. So with that being said, are they doing this to distract us from something? I'm starting to put on
Probably.
my tinfoil hat. Like,
Probably.
I don't know. I feel like there's something like bigger.
I mean, pick a category.
That's true.
Like Russia and China just shook hands and were like, we'll use Chinese money instead of US money. You know what I'm saying? Like the biggest thing, you know, like even Putin was like, the United States is being incredibly strategically dumb. He was like, they're sawing off the branch that they're sitting on by telling people they'll sanction you for doing shit and they won't let you use the US currency if you're doing things they don't like. Like, that's like Verizon saying, if you're having conversations we don't like, you have to go to AT&T. Verizon only loses in that scenario.
That's a good point.
So that's what the U.S. has been doing. Our sanctions, there's
Yes.
like, you can't use U.S. money if you're doing purchases and dumb shit we don't like or whatever. And it's just like, dude, this is such a dumb move. That's why I'm so convinced that outside sources have paid United States politicians to essentially destroy the strength of America.
I honestly, I have to agree with you. And that is, they're also like, it's like we have babies at the wheel. And it is so scary the way that these people think. It's so infantile. It's very virtue signally. Like, there are even times when, like, well, you know, years ago, like when something was too far, the people were like, okay, wait a minute, we got to act like grown-ups here. And they wouldn't virtue signal too bad. But now, are you going for the bus?
Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
But now they're all getting to some level that is just, it's almost impossible to fathom that it could happen here in America. It is. It's almost impossible to fathom that this could happen here. But these are bills being drawn up. This
Right.
is not a game anymore. At first, maybe we could, oh, look at those wokies over there. No. We need to start taking these people effing seriously.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? If it doesn't pass, like, I fully expect Biden to draw up a damn executive order and try to pass that stuff, pass
Or
this
some
kind
of
of
it.
crap for a period of time, you know? Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is that the tide is turning a little bit as far as in the mind of the culture around us. In France, the police are joining in with the protesters. In Italy, they're freaking out, and I guess Macron in France has basically just done a bunch of stuff that he didn't do through the right channels of authority, and so he's just kind of shoving his will on everybody, and they're not having it anymore. So that's exciting to see a lot of people coming together against that. The Netherlands, the farming people, they won their whole dispute with them.
Did?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh.
They like won the whole dispute about that, at least for right this
For
second.
now.
I'm sure they're going to try a back door some kind of way to steal their land, you know, but so... Anyway,
the people have
tide
the
is
power.
turning. Okay, so this is, what was it? Barbie Bassett?
Barbie Bassett.
Her name is
News anchor from
Barbie?
Yeah, that's her name. From Mississippi.
All right, so the guys, this is Barbie Bassett. She committed a great crime lately to the woke mob. I want you guys to see the crime, and I want you to see how the normal people left in the United States react to this. Check it out.
Up with.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Before we know it, she'd have a Snoop Dogg tattoo on her shoulder.
For shizzle, my nizzle.
I'm telling you. Julie, what you think about that? She says.
Well, get this.
I'm up with.
I think that'd be pretty.
So is it a hate crime for me to say it? You'll just have to beep out the words if I say the N one, Jeff. So for saying for shizzle my nizzle, she was fired. She was fired for it.
I don't even think you have to censor that because you can say that.
Nizzle.
Nizzle is not a. She was just quoting a Snoop Dogg song. I mean,
For shizzle my
they were
nizzle.
talking
Every time I
about-
think of Snoop Dogg, I literally think of the phrase for shizzle my nizzle.
Yeah, they were actually. It was doing him a favor. It was promoting his wine. It was promoting his new product, his new wine. So I mean, crazy. He's getting into wine, but that's great. And then. She was just being, I don't know, I thought it was cute. I didn't think anything about it until people are like, oh, well, that's what it means. I don't know.
They're
so
saying
ridiculous.
they're saying it's a word for the, it's a one of the words for the N words, which to be honest, I never even thought about until they fired her for it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess technically.
With that logic, then, we would have to be canceled and fired for saying the N word because we know what the N word
means.
We know what word
right. You're
should
referencing
be there.
you're referencing
Thank
by
you.
proxy or
Exactly.
whatever.
So her saying that
Thought crime. You had a thought crime.
There you go.
But I want you guys to see the silver lining of all this, and that is that even the people that we would normally consider to be woke crazy people are even saying this was way too far. So pull up the Whoopi Goldberg video, would you?
There are too many y'all need to make a book of stuff that no one can say. There has to be a book of stuff nobody could ever say.
And then we could all study.
Ever.
Then the book would be banned.
Include everything. Include everything. Because I tell you, the things that change, you can say this, but you can't say that. But next week you might not be able to say this. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, so the reason it's hard to keep up is because you're never supposed to be policing speech in the first freaking place. That's the problem here. But even Whoopi Goldberg is saying this is too far. But I wanted to show you Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club. He's even saying the same thing. And this dude who's hardcore pro-black and stuff like that too. These are two black guys talking about this situation. Pull this up, Jeff.
High five for what?
For shizzle my nizzle.
She can't say for shizzle my nizzle? I guess because nizzle is a derivative of...
Yes.
I'm saying that in context. I didn't mean to say
No,
it.
you said it. You
No,
said
but
that.
I said I'm not using that word.
You already did.
But
You
I was
already
using
did.
it in context. That's why.
I don't know if
I
that's
don't think she should have
fireable.
been fired.
Because it's for shizzle my nizzle.
She might not even know what nizzle means, yo. I'm not, like, come on, we got like stop, man. That's not a reason to fire that woman, yo.
No, she's been fired.
Did she release a statement?
No, not as yet.
That's the thing with hip hop, man. Hip hop is so big and so mainstream, and it's just like who can consume it and who can't. You know what I mean?
She's been there for 20 plus years.
Who can repeat slang and who can't? How old is that woman, yo?
She's been there for 20 years.
She might be old. She probably has no idea.
She might be a Snoop fan.
Nizzle is a derivative of the N-word.
Which is crazy.
She might not have any idea. She just thinks she's sounding cool repeating Snoop Dogg. For shizzle, my nizzle.
For shizzle, my nizzle.
That's not a fireable offense. I hope she sues.
I hope she sues.
I agree. She was an older gal. I mean, she's probably in absolute shock right now. This is so just mean-spirited at the core of it. And they effing fired her?
Yeah, you could even tell in her lingo that she was just like, oh, I love Snoop Dogg. I would have a Snoop Dogg tattoo. I love Snoop Dogg. For shizzle, my nizzle.
Right.
I learned that when I was in 8th grade. It was great. You know, and like on to the next thing. And then they're like, wait a minute. She just gets hit with a baseball bat from the side. She's like, what did I do? And they're like, tie her up, you know, drag her behind the car. It's like this brutal frickin' whatever.
You're not at a company for 20 years because you are a horrible employee. That says something to me. I think that has weight. And for them not to even consider that is just absolutely disgusting that the company did that to her. I'm negating the public outrage to it because I think that's nothing to be outraged about. I can't even I don't know. I can't even fathom being outraged about it because I'm like trying to, and it's just not, it's not clicking in my head. But this poor lady, anyway, the company shouldn't have done that. The news agency should not have done that. Just fired her.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. For 20 years to 20-year-long employment, and then now you're just gone because you said one thing that Snoop Dogg himself says, and that we've all been saying for 20 years. Yeah, like I say that I don't really listen to Snoop Dogg that much, but if I did, like, and somebody was like, "What's something Snoop Dogg would say?" I'd be like, "Oh, for shizzle my nizzle," because that's just what I think of when I think of Snoop Dogg.
Right, and she said it so cute and innocently, like this little white
D-O-double-G for shizzle my nizzle.
Right, she was saying it so innocently. It was so cute the way she said it. I just don't see that being a fireable offense, much less a cancelable offense.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, so the tide is turning a little bit where people are starting to call this stuff a little bit nuts, and Black China is having a big come around season right now where she has been baptized.
Mm-hmm.
She's renounced like some demonic stuff. She had a tattoo of Baphomet, which is
Baphomet?
like it's a long explanation, but essentially it is the it's one of the deities, the demonic deities that a lot of the people that are considered to be in the Illuminati worship. As above, so below. It's half like goat, half person, and it's half woman. It's got breasts and it's half man. So it's like it has a little bit to do with Molech, which is what they were sacrificing babies to. So anyway, it's just like a demonic entity that a lot of Hollywood and all them kind of use and represent. So she got that tattoo removed and was baptized, and she canceled her OnlyFans account too. And her OnlyFans account was bringing multiple millions of dollars in. So it's not nothing. It's a pretty big deal.
No, it's not.
She even got her plastics,
dissolved.
her plastics removed, her implants and stuff like that.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I heard she was getting her fillers dissolved, like in her face, but I didn't know she was messing with the
implants.
Yeah,
I think she said she was getting rid of implants too. So that's kind of neat. She's coming to the stage. Who knows what it's for, whatever. But look, I'm not gonna look. It seems positive, so I'm not gonna shit on it. Great job, Black China. We love that, girl. Pursue the truth. That's awesome. That's commendable. Thank you. Thank you for being willing to do that, even if it's unpopular. Because one of her kids is Tyga's baby.
Yes.
So it's not like just a rando. It's somebody
She's a
who's
Kardashian baby.
With which
Rob Kardashian.
Rob. Okay, Rob. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to see. In other good news, France, the police are laying down their handcuffs in solidarity with the protesters in France because the protesters are angry at Macron for basically doing anti-freedom type stuff and not getting things passed the right way with voting, and he's kind of pushing stuff through. So that's good too. And in the Netherlands, the whole gas or the whole farming thing, they're winning that a little bit. So that's looking good too.
Things are starting to add up, I guess the light is being shown either to people individually who have large audiences, which
I think that's what social media is doing. And I think that's why they're trying to put this new thing in, because it is starting to be so obvious, so obvious that they're having to basically stop you from hearing about stuff. And if not, you go to jail for 20 years.
What's that music thing that you told me about, that it's a Christian college and everybody comes and plays music for 24 hours?
International House of Prayer in Kansas City.
Okay. They had whatever that is called. I don't know what it's called. And they had that recently. And apparently they had like millions and millions of people show up. I don't know.
Asbury Theological Seminary in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yes. They had, even Tucker Carlson did a piece on this because they were like, what's going on there?
Exactly.
And they were like, look, the Lord can do this anywhere. There's revival that's breaking out in lots of different places, like a reviving of old biblical values. And look, we know a lot of this stuff is predicted about the end times. A lot of the kind of like high promiscuity, witchcraft, thievery, murder, all this kind of stuff is increasing. And, we're getting to a stage now where there's like direct defiance too. We've got the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum essentially pointing fingers at Yahweh and saying, we're better than you.
Yeah.
Remember that one video? The
Yes,
guy
I do.
saying, the God of the Hebrews, he would bring drought if you sinned. You can sin all you want and we will make sure you get water. We are better than him, or whatever is essentially what he was saying in that video.
Yes, I
which is some
remember that.
crazy shit to say
I was
against
like-
the dude that runs things. Even if you're an idiot atheist 100% of the way and you're like, I don't want anything to do. Like, maybe you shouldn't mock the dude that most likely, if God exists, is probably the dude that's behind all of it. Like, don't directly mock him the way that Revelation says that idiots will mock him before he kills those people. Like, maybe don't do that, like,
Right.
But so anyway, obviously there's a lot of globalization that's happening, which is what makes what's happening now different. Because a lot of people will respond with, well, everybody thought it was end times-ish during their age. World War II, everybody thought it was end times-ish. Yes, but the globalization effort is significantly different now than it was 70 years ago when that kind of thing was happening. So we're at a different stage of everything being able to come under one global currency. That's a lot more likely to happen now than it was 70 years ago. I mean, the ADL and PayPal have essentially teamed up, and like, if you're like considered to be an extremist or have extremist views, you can't even do purchases in some cases. So we're already kind of saying the only people that can buy, sell, and trade goods on this massive platform are people that have the approved line of thinking. There's only one step one step more that's really needed, and that's we have to make sure that you have the right beliefs before you're allowed to do this, and we're going to give you a mark on your hand or forehead that says that you're safe to do transactions with us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's like a mark of the beastie type thing. It's a forerunner of it if you're a biblical thinker. So anyway, we're seeing all this happening, but revival's happening at the same time. So the good news about biblical things is that it doesn't hurt Christians. It helps us as far as the growth of the thing. You persecute us and we just keep growing. So I'm excited to see what happens over the next few years.
Me too. Good things are happening.
Good things are happening, man. People are waking up to stuff, and even people like Black China are getting baptized in their swimming pools, man.
And no one said it's going to be easy. It's not easy, but at the very least, like, we have each other. We have our like little communities online and things like that. So, there's hope. I mean, and I think we're still going to fight. Even if something like that happens, we're going to find a way around it.
Right.
We are going to. That's just it. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. Okay.
Yeah.
The
If
people
we got to go through a really
are
tough
going
thing,
to-
we're going to figure it out. Like all of human history, they figured stuff out.
Exactly. And we're going to persevere. I think we can't lose hope. We have to maintain that even if it gets hard. Oh, well, learn how to wash your Ziploc bags and everything like that. Save money, like get together with people. It's time to come together and just at the very least resisting that stuff penetrating into your inner circle, family, friends, whatever it has.
Resist the medicine, resist the banking closures, resist the whatevers, the brainwashing, the ideology. Learn why you believe what you believe so that you can actually have an opinion about things and have a defense when somebody says, why wouldn't we all choose to have equal basic income? And it's like, well, because the person who has to take everything in order to redistribute that basic income isn't trustworthy. Brr. But anyway, another great episode, Tina. Another great episode. Guys, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. You want to say anything, Tina?
No, I'm good. Have a good one. Oh, finger guns.
Yeah, finger gun.
That's all I got, guys. That's all I got.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.